Um, I am reading some other questions. This is from D Loves Cass. Hi, Mish. What hobbies have you picked up to deal with the ending of the show? I'm glad that you asked about hobbies and not addictions. That's a good sign. I have been coping with the end of the show. You know what? To be honest with you, I think that one of the things that I've realized when the show ended is that I was way too busy, and that I need to put a little bit more breathing room in my life. I was finally able, for example, to finish a manuscript for a book that I've been trying to write for like 7 years or something. And so I had a little bit more bandwidth for that and for some other, projects that I had just mentioned. But I've also had a lot more time to go camping with my kids and spend some time in nature. And that's been really lovely. But I was too busy before. So one of the hobbies that I'm trying to pick up is slowing down, spending more time meditating and camping and trying to be happy. That's that's the hobby that I'm trying to pick up. All right, I'm giving up on that. I'm trying to read the scrolling text. It does make me feel somewhat loved to see that this is so scrolling by so fast. Either creation has created a bot that just generates questions very quickly to make me feel good, or there are actually quite a few of you out there. Bye, have fun. Don't get run over by a car. Okay. That's an enormous water bottle, Mason. Make sure you drink it all. She's going on a long walk, and she's wearing what appear to be leather pants and a leopard print long sleeve shirt, and it's quite sunny and warm. I'm not sure how that's going to go. So I am. Jawa Walker. I don't know how to pronounce your Jawa. I think that might be a Brazilian name, is my guess. If today was your last day on Earth, what would you do? Well, that's a sobering question. I think I would probably, oh God, this is going to sound very trite. I would probably hang out with my kids, and then I would meditate as hard as I could to try to attain enlightenment before being wiped off the planet. As I mentioned maybe earlier, or was that on another call, I've been reading with my son Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and the Earth in the very opening of that book. For those of you who haven't read it, I'm going to spoil it. The Earth is vaporized, and every human except for the hero of the story is vaporized. And there's only a few minutes warning. They only find out that the planet is going to be vaporized with a few minutes warning, and some of the people just drink a lot of beer, and I don't think that that's how I would want to go out. But it is a question to contemplate. A last day on Earth. It's a little depressing. Now I wish you hadn't asked that. I'm just going to go cry into my teacup. Holly, Holly asks, if Joe Biden were to offer me a job, would I say yes? That really depends. First of all, I'm flattered that he wants me to work for him. Oh, you didn't say you did want to work for me, did you? You said if. For example, I'm going to posit a couple of hypotheticals here. Oh my God, this reminds me of a conversation that I had with a new friend on Zoom. There were a few of us like having this like Zoom social, 4 of us on this Zoom. And one of the people on the call was like, yeah, I don't know what to do with myself right now. I'm feeling like, I don't know what I want to do next. This is the person that I've only met on Zoom and talked to maybe 3 times. And she was like, I've done a lot of, political stuff. And so I was thinking like, maybe I should keep doing that. Maybe I should, I've been working for the U.S. government for long enough that I'm grandfathered in, so I could do an early retirement in 5 years when I turn 50. And so maybe I should just like keep up with the government job, but I just don't know. And I'm thinking like, well, what government job are you going to be offered? Like, you're going to be like, are you thinking about working, at the Library of Congress, like collating the card catalogs, or like what kind of like I don't know what kind of government job she's talking about. And she says, I guess they've like sort of out. The Biden administration has offered me an ambassadorship, but I don't know if I want to do that. I'm like, wait a minute. You're I was shocked. I was totally shocked. I was like, I think, go ahead and take the ambassador job. And that sounds pretty good. Do that. For example, if I was offered, I worked in the, I didn't work. I was an intern in the Office of Presidential Personnel for Bill Clinton, and that office it still exists. The Office of Presidential Personnel is the office where they make presidential appointments. So the president can not only appoint cabinet members, actually can't quite appoint cabinet members because they require Senate approval in order to be actually ordained as cabinet members. But there are a lot of positions in the government that are like one notch below Secretary of Agriculture or ambassadorships that don't require congressional approval. And those are, the president can just appoint these positions. There are 3,000 of them. And there were a lot of people applying for or throwing their hat in the ring for presidential appointments in this office where I worked. And so one of the things that I did is I would open envelopes from people who were applying for jobs. And I saved a few of the, this is, I'm sure, a felony crime, but the statute of limitations is up and I can get away with it now. But I saved several of the applications that came in. One of them was from a guy who said that he wanted to be an ambassador, I think like ambassador to Norway. And he was quite adamant that he was the man for the job because God had spoken to him in the bathroom of the Mayflower Hotel and told him that it was his will, it was God's will that he be the ambassador. Another woman applied to be the Secretary of Agriculture, I believe. And she had been I guess she had been in soft porn, and she sent all of these soft focus, glossy 8x10 nude photos of herself accompanying her application, which I thought, like, this is not going to work. No, you can't do that to apply for a presidential appointment. But of course, it was Bill Clinton, so actually maybe it was an effective means of vying for a job. I don't know. Anyway, long story short, if the appointment, that is a long-winded answer. If the appointment was to a presidential appointment, Biden said, hey, I'd like you to come clean the toilets in the White House. Will you do it? I probably would. Yeah. Sarcasm Princess says, "Hi, I'm Cass. I got to meet you on Thanksgiving." Where were we on Thanksgiving? How did we meet? I can't remember Thanksgiving. What's something that you can't get mad at your kids about because they get it from you? I was, like the elf on a shelf thing. I don't know if you all know this, but there's this sort of Christmas related tradition. It's sort of like the Advent calendar leading up to Christmas. Some people do this thing where there's like an stuffed elf that you put somewhere and you move it around the house, and the kids think that the elf is magically moving at night. In the morning, they have to go find it. I did something a little bit different. I had an Advent calendar, but I told the kids that the elves hide the Advent calendar. Advent calendar, for those of you who don't know, is like every day of December leading up to Christmas, there's like a little tiny door, and behind that door, there's like a chocolate or a candy or a toy or something like that. And our Advent calendar was like, it was a fairly substantial thing. And I would move it around the house after they went to sleep, and then put little notes in the door for the next day, and they would open it up and they'd find a note from the elves and a little gift of some sort. And one year I forgot to do it, and it was like December 5th, and the kids were like, "What's going on? Like, why aren't the elves leaving the Advent calendar?" And I was like, "I don't know. What's wrong with those elves? They lazy, useless elves." And then I wrote a little letter for the kids from the elves saying, we were stuck in a snowstorm. We went to visit our friends on the other side of town, but then there was that snowstorm, and we got stuck over there. We tried to come back on foot, and then one of us got frostbite, and it was like there's a long-winded excuse of why it had taken so long. But finally, they found a deer who was willing to let them like crawl up into its fur and carry them across town, and now they're back, and everything's fine, and they're back to where they normally live, which is in the walls of our house year round. And so then the kids were like, "The elves live in our walls?" And I was like, "I don't know, right? Read the letter. Apparently, yes, they live in our walls." And so sometime in the summer, I came home from shooting, and I got home, and West had a hammer, and he was demolishing the house. He was just like pounding a hole in the drywall of our mudroom, like at the entryway in the house. He was just like pounding a hole, a big old gaping hole. And I was like, "What, West, what are you doing? You can't just take a hammer to the wall like that." By the way, he's way too old to be doing something like that. It's like he knows you don't pound a hole in a wall. And he was like 8. And he said, "I'm looking for the elves." I was like, "Oh yeah, okay, cool. I get it." I can't be mad at you for that, because the elves live in the walls. So he got it from me, and I couldn't be mad at him. I was mad at him briefly. Okay, what other questions do we hear? Hi, Misha. Not a serious question. What is the most random thing you have in your home? Probably elves. I don't know what else would constitute random. For some reason now, just inappropriate things are coming to mind, so I'm going to skip that question. Vika from Russia asks if I have a tattoo. I don't. I feel like this is sort of a glaring omission in terms of body modification. I was feeling angsty, my brother and I, when I was maybe 14 and he was 12, and we used little knives to carve. I carved a peace symbol into my thigh that was like an effort to make it. It wasn't like an act of like, I guess it is self-mutilation, but it wasn't, we weren't doing this to like hurt ourselves. We were doing it to like try to make a cool lasting scar. So I tried to carve a peace symbol into my leg. It's very faint. You can still a little bit see the peace symbol. But I don't consider that a tattoo, and no one but me could identify it. I would like to get a tattoo of something related to my children. I think that would be my inclination. I know that's cheesy, but I haven't done it. Maybe I'll do it soon. Thanks for the tip. I'm not supposed to get any tattoos for at least 3 months after my surgery. So, and I have to take antibiotics if I do get a tattoo. That's the new rule. Parker is from Australia is saying 2020 was a rough year for a lot of people. Do you have a message for people working on sobriety? I would say self-medicating is something that I have struggled with. Like there have been a lot of hard times when I've been like, I don't want to feel the feelings I'm having right now. So I'll drink or whatever. And it's never the right answer. But if you're struggling with sobriety, I would just offer this one nugget, which is, I think it really does help to have the support of other people. It's a hard thing to do alone from everything I know about it. So lean on people. I mean, I think that the pandemic in general has probably given a lot of us the insight that we really need one another, maybe more than we thought. I thought that I really identified as an introvert. I know that probably sounds weird. It's like somebody who gets up on stage and feels kind of comfortable in the limelight, because that is true of me. But I like when I would go to conventions a lot of times, this is an embarrassing secret. I would find a room, like all the actors would be hanging out in the green room, and I'd say hi and hang out a little bit, but then I'd find a side room to go hang out in, because I would want to get some work done and get some reading done and try to get some alone time. And I always thought I just need alone time. I just need alone time. And people would ask me, if I wanted to go out for dinner or something, and I'd often be like, no, I gotta be alone. And I'm realizing now that I'm way more of an extrovert than I thought I was, and that I really need the company of people and community in order to thrive. And I think that this experience of the last year has really helped me see that going inward and trying to handle things on my own and trying to create more solitude for myself is actually often, for me, counterproductive. A lot of times that impulse to go in is actually an indication that I need to be going out, that I need to be reaching out to people and connecting with people. And I have found that this year pretty starkly. I've had a lot of hard days, like many people, and I keep on, my impulse is to just handle it myself and go inner. And I keep on reminding myself, no, pick up the phone, do a FaceTime, Zoom somebody, talk to a friend. And it's so crucial and therapeutic and essential. There's no question, we as humans are hardwired to be herd animals. We need the community we need to be among the family of things in order to thrive and survive. So, I guess that's it's a little bit of a tangent on your question, but I think it's true. A question about a short film about an airport. Oh, how did this idea come about, and how much did you laugh while writing it? This is from Natasha. This is about the TSA shorts. My wife and my friend Philip and I co-wrote, and I directed and starred in, and Daniil Ackles is in one episode, and a few other friends show up in those episodes. They're very short. If you haven't seen them, I think that they're worth watching. They're kind of funny. And the idea came from going through TSA checkpoints. I went through a TSA, by the way, for those of you who haven't seen it, the little shorts that we made, I think you can find them on YouTube, or I think they're actually on Apple TV or something. It's called TSA America Level Orange. Daniil's episode is particularly gross. The inspiration came from watching, it was like early on after the TSA, like real intensive security checkpoints at airports were implemented. And I watched this old man who couldn't walk without his walker be forced to like go through the metal detector without his walker, but he couldn't walk, and he basically ended up like having to crawl through it. And I was like, what the hell is happening here? Like and obviously it wasn't like they weren't properly following protocol. These must have been like, the TSA itself was new, but these agents were obviously new. They didn't know what they were doing. But I was like, whoa, this can't be happening. And that sort of just inspired the idea of the stories. I went through a TSA checkpoint once, and one of the guy that was giving me a pat down because I had set off the metal detector was like, I've seen your TSA shorts. And I was like, oh shit, he's gonna like take me into the back room and give me a cavity search. I'm in huge trouble. And he was like, that was hilarious stuff, man. Good on you. So I was like, thank God. I now set off the metal detectors because of my titanium hips. I don't know. Hold on one second. I'm just scrolling through the questions, guys. Be patient. God, you're still pushing. Be patient. Well, guys, I'm also going to offer you this last reminder that we're getting close to the end here. We have 10 minutes or so left. So if you do want to tip, I think this is you're getting into the window here. Okay. My goodness, there are a lot of people on this Zoom from Russia, it looks like. Привет. Мои друзьями. Мой русский язык очень плохо. Я хочу говорю лучше. Okay. Joanna from Portugal is asking, what is the hardest scene that I have ever filmed? The hardest scene was, well, that depends on what you mean by hard. Hardest scene I ever filmed. I'm sorry. I have like stories are coming to mind that I can't tell. Oh well, one scene that was absolutely awful. Awful. It was just like, are you kidding me? Are we really doing this? There has to be a better way. For There's this thing in filmmaking called a Ritter fan. I don't know why it's called a Ritter fan, but I remember the name of the company was on this particular Ritter fan. A Ritter fan it's about 7 or 8 feet tall and 7 or 8 feet wide. It's round like a fan, and it's basically like the propeller of an airplane. It's just like this enormous fan that creates wind that's like so strong that like you can pretend that you're in a hurricane or a tornado and like you lean into the wind and it like will keep you from falling over. It's just like really, really intense wind. And they had decided that they wanted to use a Ritter fan for this scene where Dean and Cass were crawling toward the portal to get out of purgatory and back into the real world. And we're crawling up this dirt hill that was just like loose sand and gravel. And the Ritter fan is blasting on us. And it was like literally crawling into a sandblaster. Like it was just it was unbearable. It was like getting in our eyes and it's like kicking up all this dust. We were both like hacking up black. And of course it's television. So they had to shoot, we had to do like, 5 different takes of this and different camera angles. And Jensen and I both agreed like that was the shittiest day of shooting I've ever had. I have another one for you. I worked on a movie called Finding Home. Absolute garbage. But it was my first like leading role in a movie, and I was so excited about it. And it shot in coastal Maine, and it was supposed to be summertime in the movie. But there had been the director was so incompetent that what was supposed to be a 5-week shoot ended up being a 3-month shoot. And we found ourselves in December in coastal Maine, and we were supposed to be having this scene. It was a night scene, and I get in a fight with this other guy, and we're fighting in the waves in the ocean. And it's December in Maine, and we can't have wetsuits on because we're just in our like short sleeve shirts. And they had to go out there and melt with torches the snow and the ice off of the pebbly beach so that it would look like summer. And then we had to like go into the surf and fight, but not just immediately register shock on our faces because we were so cold. And I mean, this would never have happened on Supernatural or any other like legitimate production, but this independent feature, they somehow got away with it. I remember they had an ambulance there and paramedics because they were pretty sure we were going to get hypothermia. But it was a really hard scene to shoot. That was cold. Yep. But I guess I don't have much to complain about. It's not like being a Navy SEAL or anything. It's basically a job where you just pretend you make believe. You don't even really hit each other. You fake hit each other. So compared to actually going into a boxing ring or something like that, or actually climbing through a portal from another dimension, it's all child's play. It's all easy. All right. It's the last question time, guys. It is Parnia. She says, "Hi, I'm Parnia from Iran. I love what an international audience we can have in this context. It's so cool." She says, "We love you here. Thank you for that. I have some of my dearest friends over the years have been Persians, and I have never been to Tehran or anywhere in Iran, and I would love nothing more. I love Persian food, and I have a particular affinity for the Persian people I've met. So I appreciate your kind words, but I also would like to say, please bring me to your country. Take me to your people." Oh, that sounds so fun. Maybe that's where I'll go as soon as the pandemic is over. I'll figure out how to get a visa tour. Anyway, the question is, who's my favorite villain? And the answer is, of course, Donald Trump. I can't wait to see him go to prison soon. That's so exciting. And see what he'll do in the next chapter of his life. And that's a really great last question. Fitting for me, I would say. Well, I would like to say some parting words since that was my last question. And I will say these words. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you for your absurd string of questions. You are lovely. You are not alone, even though during this pandemic you likely feel quite alone. And I can't wait to see you all in person. We had been doing, as I mentioned earlier, I think I had been working too much when I was on Supernatural, and we were doing a lot of conventions, and the combination of trying to run Gish and work on random acts and do other things and play with my kids and go to, go to creation events on the weekends. It all felt like too much. And I think a lot of times I was showing up at conventions like tired and grumpy and not my best self. But I have to say, one of the things that I really do miss from the hindsight of enduring a pandemic, I really miss those conventions. I miss seeing fans and my castmates in person, and I can't wait to get back to it. So I hope I can see you all sometime in the coming year, and I hope you all stay healthy and get vaccinated and take care of each other and be kind and generous in the world. And we'll see you soon. Bye, guys.